Why did I quit the army? Well, I think I have the same story as a lot of other people who quit the army. Within the first 4 months of me getting to Fort Campbell in the 101st Airborne Division, I knew I was going to get out. Honestly, I was more disappointed because as a young boy, I was obsessed with soldiers, special forces, rangers. I was like, man, I want to do that. And then when you actually get into the army, you realize everybody is way more human than you think. A lot of the times nobody knows what's actually going on, and they're like, hey, do you know what's going on? I'm just a private. So yeah, I learned everything within 4 months that like the army is not really what it seems like in these really cool commercials. Yeah, and even going to air assault school, learning how to rappel out of helicopters and doing all that, that was cool. Getting to train with special forces, getting to blow stuff up. That still was not enough for me to want to stay in. There was also a lot of times where we were told you're going to deploy, and never ended up deploying. The only way I was going to end up deploying is if I re-enlisted for a contract. And that was probably one of the hardest decisions I ever made. It was like, am I going to deploy for selfish reasons, or am I going to deploy because I want to be there? So I ended up getting out, which honestly, it took me a while to get over it. It took me about a year. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I was like, man, I should have gone on that deployment. But looking back on it, I'm like, nothing would have changed. It would have just been like, oh, you deployed, okay. So did 100 billion other people. Anyway, yeah, another point I want to add, I went into the army thinking like, if I go in and I'm the toughest, I'm the best shot, I'm the strongest, that was going to make me a great leader. I'm going to get promoted so fast, when actually it was the exact opposite. One thing I realized in that version of the army during the Obama era, it was who's the cleanest, who's the most well-spoken, and those were the people who were getting promoted over people who were actually better at them at the job. So yeah, that's why, that's the gist of it. I just wanted to put it out there. This is probably only going to go to the YouTube members, so thank you everybody. But yeah, I guess I quit the army within one contract, and I put quit because a lot of the only people who hate on soldiers who get out are people that are never served, because whether you serve 3 years or 100 years, you still did your thing. And it's just funny to hear when people are like, oh, you quit. I'm like, well, you've never been in a contract, so screw you.